Okay, so let's go ahead and get started. Hello, everybody, and thank you all for coming. So let's jump right into business for the reason we're all here today, the Agri-Impact program. So our goal for today is to present everything you need to know about the program and let the experts from our partners who will present exactly everything you need to know from what is the criteria, what is the process, what is the product stage, the funding stage, and everything you need to know. So I would like to first thank the partners of the program. We have Bayer, we have the Nitsan Lab for Sustainable Development from the Tel Aviv University, Israel Innovation Authority, and the Fooksman Foundation. So thank you again for the collaboration and for this very exciting opportunity. So as we all know, farmers all around the world are facing diverse challenges that require holistic solutions. Currently today, more than 500 million farmers across Asia, Africa, and South America are providing 80% of the food supply for their communities. In order to solve the global food challenge, we must find solutions for these farmers in order to improve their productivity and profits, while also reducing their environmental footprint. That's why now, more than ever, supporting these farmers has high importance, and it also holds tremendous market value. So that's why we're all here today. Agri-Impact is searching for innovative Israeli solutions to address the challenges that the smallholder farmers are facing. So it is a unique opportunity for companies who are interested in scaling their impact and growing their business in India, which is one of the fastest economies in the world today. So, one second. So let's just start away with the agenda and what we're going to talk about today. So we're going to have Netta Gruber-Perry from the Israel Innovation Authority, Kishore Venkata and Rohit Maini from Bayer, and Dr. Ram Frischman from the Tel Aviv University. And you will also have plenty of time to ask questions. And there is a Q&A button, and just feel free to, right from the beginning, drop any questions you may have, and we will address all the questions at the end of the session. So for those of you who don't know me, my name is Chen Chatav, and I'm Growing Ayel's community manager. Growing Ayel is Israel's Agri-tech community. We are a government initiative of the Israel Innovation Institute, Israel Innovation Authority, Ministry of Economy, and Ministry of Agriculture. Our community was created with the understanding that startups do not grow in a void, and we bring the members of the ecosystem together. And when I mean the members, I don't just mean the startups, but it's also from investors in academia to service providers, NGOs, and we bring them together in order to provide a platform for them to share knowledge, network, and collaborate. And as of today, we have over 500 companies from early to late stage, and we have over 6,000 community members. So our vision is to support the growth of the Israeli Agri-tech sector and position Israel as a global leader for Agri-tech, and also to accelerate the development and adoption of new technology in order to address the world food crisis. So how do we do that? How do we create an ecosystem? So we have two main channels that we work in. One of them is ecosystem development. It's from events that we create for our community members, different tools that we have on our website, from an investor's map to a government funding tool to a mentor program. We also have an online community from Facebook and LinkedIn, and I hope all of you are following us, as well as connections that we make between community members. And another aspect that we work in is in open innovation. We provide tailor-made open innovation processes that the main idea here is to connect between the needs of the industry to the solutions made by startups. And lastly, I want to present the Israeli Agri-tech startup map for 2023, which we just launched in collaboration with Startup Nation Central. It's on our website, and feel free to check it out. And so that's a quick overview on us, and I would like to go ahead and present Netta Gruber-Perry of the Israel Innovation Authority, who is gonna talk about walk us through the different support programs and this program specifically. So Netta, the stage is yours.
Thank you very much, Chen, and thank you everyone for joining us. It's really exciting to see people here from all over the world joining together for this important cause. I'll share my screen in just a sec, and then what I wanted to do is to walk us briefly through kind of an overview, a short overview of the Israeli ecosystem, the Israel Innovation Authority, what we do, and then focus more on this opportunity specifically, this collaboration and the sort of funding opportunities that we provide. Wait, oh, it's not moving. There we go. So kind of very briefly, some of you may know this, but I think it's important to set the stage that the Israeli high-tech industry is very dominant in Israel. This year, for the first time, more than half of the exports, the total Israeli exports, are based on the high-tech industry, technology and services. It's a quarter of our income, more than 10% of total employees in the market. So that's one of the highest in the world. So it's very dominant here. And we are also first in the world, leading in the world in our national expenditure on civilian R&D. So usually when it's a bit more of an interactive session, I would ask a raise of hands as to how much of that is coming from private funding and how much from the public funding. But here, I'll give you the number. So Israel is unusual in many ways, and this is one of them. Less than 10% is coming from the public sector. More than 90% is coming from the private sector, and a lot of that is coming from abroad. But the challenge is, as you can see here, a lot of capital is raised, but most of it is focused on specific sectors: enterprise, cyber, fintech, retail, marketing, areas that are no surprise to any of you. I highlighted here the food and agri-tech industry, and to show you how much capital is raised there. And this is exactly where the Israel Innovation Authority, that less than 10% that we try to use in a strategic way, is there to support sectors in which we see that there is national importance, obviously global importance and significance, and where we can come in and provide support. And also we're monitoring how many startups are opening here, how many of them are closing, what the ecosystem is like. It's maturing and it's developing. So these are some of the things that we do. So our main focus is, as the government, is always to complement the private sector, not to overlap, but to see where our added value is needed. And this is mostly in removing obstacles. These could be legislative obstacles or others, addressing market failures, so especially in the areas that are high risk, futuristic, the ROI is long, the investment in the early stages is significant, and perhaps the private sector is hesitant to invest. This is where we come in the early stage piloting and R&D and in early stage piloting, and to work to establish new growth engines, to see where Israel can lead in the world and also provide solutions to global challenges. So an overview of the Israel Innovation Authority, who we are. As I said, we are Israel's national funding agency for innovative technologies. We have an annual budget of about $500 million that we use to provide conditional loans to companies. So we work throughout the life cycle of innovation, from very early stage tech transfer from academia to the industry, over to early stage entrepreneurship, a single entrepreneur working to develop and establish their companies, then over to growth and scale up companies. And we work in different contexts, obviously in international collaborations, which is our focus here today. So we have about 2,500 applications per year across our different funding tools, and about half of them are approved. So that's not a bad rate for you if you're looking to apply. If you do the application properly, you have a good chance of receiving funding. And the way we work, as I mentioned, is a conditional loan. So we would provide funding for the project, and then if you are successful in commercializing the product that you were working on, then you would be required to repay us with royalties up to the sum that you received. And if you weren't, then you don't have to pay us back. The loan is converted into a grant because we are sharing the risk with the company. So, futuristic, high risk technologies, this is where we focus. We support different sectors on all technologies, but as I said earlier, we do have a specific focus. I'll get into that in a second. We are about 140 employees, but more interesting is that we have 180 technology evaluators. These are experts in their fields, usually with more than 20 years experience. And once an application is submitted to us, it will be assigned to an expert evaluator who would speak to the company, learn about what they're doing, the technological novelty, the business potential, and would provide this kind of very rigorous due diligence process, and will provide a feedback to our funding committee. It's a committee that is made up of both public representative and private sector representative that discuss these issues, and then they make a decision. And as I said, it's up to 50% funding. So the mindset is always that we are using public funding. We don't want this to be easy funding. We want you to put your resources in and to be invested in it. And this is one of the reasons why we are doing this in such a format. In a second, I'll speak more to that, but I just want to say we have, so as I said, kind of three main pillars of activities, investing in R&D and innovative technologies and in pilots as well, gearing up for future technologies. So I did mention that on the one hand, we are complementing the private sector, looking at where our support is needed across all technologies. On the other hand, we are focusing on areas in which we saw that there is need. One of these is climate tech. Under climate tech, that's a very broad umbrella. So under that, we put food and agri-tech, water, energy, smart and green manufacturing and mobility. So it's kind of a wide umbrella, but definitely you will see in the near future that many of our programs are going to focus on these issues. So if you are, enthusiastic of climate solutions and especially here in our case in agri-tech, you should know that we are going to put a lot of emphasis on that in our different programs. We're also focusing on another field called bioconvergence. Bioconvergence is the nexus point between life sciences and AI and engineering. So this could be implemented in the health domain, but also in agriculture. So imagine, precision agriculture, 3D printing of live tissue. It has different implications, but it's a very interesting field. We're also working on quantum and AI. So these are areas that we focus on. And let's now move to the main event that we are all here for, the International Agri-Impact pilot program. So we are very excited about this opportunity to collaborate with such an impressive area of partners, each bringing their own expertise and strength. I'll let them speak about what they do. What we do is to provide funding. So in a minute, we'll discuss the process. Once you've applied to us, you can receive up to 50% of your approved budget project. We don't have a specific cap for the project size. So it will vary depending on the mutual decision you reach with the buyer and with the different partners. And then once you apply to us, you will apply with a budget, and we will evaluate according to the overall project how much we're going to provide. So that allows for some flexibility. And we are focusing on pilot projects. So that means, and some of my partners here, I think will touch upon that as well. So we are looking for technologies that are on the one hand already, past their first POC stage. On the other hand, if you are very close to commercialization, then you're less likely to receive funding from us. We are looking at supporting pilots that are, let's say, your first time abroad or your second time abroad, that you're going through some adaptations, that you're kind of developing and adjusting your product to the needs of the smallholder farms. So This is sort of, I'm not providing a specific TRL number here because there is some flexibility, but if you are, considering whether your solution could be relevant, then please, submit the EOI. I'll get into this. This is the program process.
Wrap it up in a second.
Sorry?
We need to wrap it up.
Yeah, I'm wrapping it up in a minute. So the program process is the EOI submission. So the deadline is September 15th, December 15th, just around the corner. But it's a very short application, so don't be alarmed. It really takes just a few minutes to submit. Then you will be evaluated internally, and there will be a short list. That shortlist is then these shortlisted companies will then be invited to submit a full application to us, to the Israel Innovation Authority, and the deadline would be February 20th. Then you will go through 3 months of evaluation process, that due diligence process that I mentioned, and the funding decision would be made in May. So this is kind of an overview. And if you have any questions regarding that specifically, how it works, we are here. My email is here. Sarah Rosenberg, my colleague, is also here, and you're welcome to reach out to us. That is it. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Netta, for all the information. I see that we already have 2 questions for Netta and the rest of the speakers. So just a reminder, we will address all the questions at the end of the session. So I would now like to introduce Kishore Venkata and Rohit Maini, who are both from Bayer, who will present the program and also the different incentives for smallholder farmers, and also bring an overview of the Better Life farming. So take it from here, Kishore.
Yep, thank you very much. It's a pleasure for us, at Bayer to be, leading this Agri-Impact initiative, which is providing innovative solutions for smallholder farmers in partnership with the Israeli Innovation Authority, with the Fooksman Foundation, and the Tel Aviv University, specifically the Nitsan Lab. What we would like to share with you is, that the initiative is really to ask for applications for pilots, right? To offer affordable and innovative solutions that addresses the challenges of smallholder farmers, especially the vegetable growers in India. And the way in which we look at this process is that you will have the call for innovations, which is what we are doing right now. Once the innovations, and the proposals have been shortlisted, they will go through a testing process. We provide them at our BLF centers in India, which is the Better Life Farming Centers, where we have Agri-Entrepreneurs and a model farm that's connected with it, where these, where these technologies can be tested at scale. I think we are looking at really three different levels, where initially, when we first test, it might be, a few numbers, which is maybe single digit. Then when we go into a second step, that might be double digits. And then maybe when we go into the third step, it's like triple digits, right? So in terms of the number of centers and the number of model farms and the farmers that are associated with each of them. Let me also be very clear that the BLF centers are an integral part of Bayer's overall commitment to reach 100 million smallholder farmers around the globe and help them improve their lives. It's one of our strategic commitments that we've made from a sustainability perspective. And we have quite a few of these centers. I think, more than 1,500 of these centers in India at this point of time. So you will get access to these centers where we are actually commercially selling a lot of other inputs in partnership with Netafim and IFC. Just so that you know the ecosystem that we are working with. And the ecosystem deals, all the way from getting the, access to inputs to all the way up to market linkage. And Rohit will talk about this a little bit more later in the space, but I just wanted to let you know that this is the kind of platform that, these companies will have access to. And eventually we'll take it to commercial and a large scale. So what is really about this initiative? What is the call for? The call is that we are, as I said, we are seeking affordable and innovative solutions, right? Which are in the spaces of precision agriculture, increasing resilience to climate change. That'll help us also reduce the greenhouse gas emissions. We're also looking at post-harvest solutions to reduce losses, any solutions in the market linkages to help improve profits for the smallholder farmers, and solutions that address really smallholder farmers' challenges on and beyond the farm. And we are specifically also paying attention to gender smart solutions so that we can actually close the gap and enable more women in agriculture, so that we really create that decision-making power for the women's, and then bring more women empowerment. As you notice, these are pretty broad topics. One of the reasons why we kept this pretty broad is we want to see what is the different innovations that are out there to help us primarily drive sustainable improvements in the livelihoods of the smallholder farmers, right? So we are not restricting, but at the same point of time, we're also not keeping it really very broad. There are clear, very specific spaces where we are asking your solutions to be focused on. What will we get really from a funding perspective here? As you already heard from the Israel Innovation Authority, a grant up to 50% of the approved pilot expenses will help you here on the ground, on the logistics, with running experimental trials or experimental, connecting with the people, with the farmers. Bio India will take care of that, from that perspective. We'll also have expertise from an agronomic and a technical mentoring perspective. We have a lot of field experts, and then we will also have support from the economic and the behavioral advising by the faculty from Tel Aviv University. And then we will also have some people to help you in the field, especially in terms of university students that can help you design, execute, and evaluate some of your pilots throughout the pilot period. I think I will not delve deeper into this. You've already heard the timing on this. The one that I would highlight is really on the 15th of December, where we have the deadline where you need to submit the expression of interest to be as part of this program as we are launching this pilot. With that, I'll pass it on to Rohit so that Rohit can talk about some of the needs and the challenges, and also explain a little bit more about our BLF Center ecosystems.
Thanks, Kishore. Am I audible?
Yes.
Yeah. All right. So, see, when we talk about India, most of the 80% of the farmers are smallholder farmers, and a vast majority of these farmers have little or no access to the modern technologies, whether it is reliable irrigation or an organized credit or an offtake linkages. Yeah, and upon that, these farmers are more vulnerable to adverse climatic impact, water scarcity, pest, crop diseases, and also the fluctuating commodity prices. So because of all these challenges, what we see is that the smallholder farmers are able to realize only a fraction of their potential productivity which they can do onto their farms. Yeah. So the bringing these farmers into the economic mainstream is therefore a crucial business need, and it's just not a CSR project. Yeah, there's a value which every partner involved into this model can extract out of it. So if you see, we did an analysis and we said that based on the importance and the satisfaction which farmers get, most of the areas where finance, crop insurance, labor, information services, weather, market linkages, they fall into a category where the satisfaction at a farmer level is very low. So what we are talking about here is to solve the challenges, as Kishore already mentioned, some of the challenges on farm and beyond farm as well, which are going to be important. Next slide, please. So how we are going to do this? So see, our model is Better Life Farming Alliance. So this is an alliance which has come together to address this whole challenges around the smallholder farmers. And who all is there into alliance? We have global partners and we have local partners. Our global partners with Bayer, along with Bayer, IFC is there, International Finance Corporation, and Netafim. These are our global partners, and our local partners are into different areas. So how this whole model works? This alliance was launched, by the way, in 2018 in Washington, DC, along with our global partners over there. So this alliance works with the center point, which is of an agri-entrepreneur. So agri-entrepreneur is a person from a village only who runs this BLF center. So this BLF center is a center where convergence of all the technologies which we talk about, whether it is inputs which goes onto farm or an advisory or different services or finance or market linkages, everything happen. The complete value chain needs of the farmers are being addressed through this center. Every center has approximately 500 farmers attached to these centers in the proximity of 5 to 10 villages close to this center. So there are different personas which work over here. So around this BLF center, there's one model farm which has been set. See, we have been advocating about different technologies, whether it is different input usage or setting up of an irrigation system. What we demonstrate, whatever we are advocating over here, we demonstrate onto this model farm, and we mobilize the communities onto this model farm, this 500 farmers, and tell them that this is something you can see and believe, and then you can use onto your farms. And this whole model farm, we are tracking into a digital platform where a complete whatever we are inputting into it and what the ROI which we're getting over it. So there's a connection between this BLF center and a model farm is an agri-consultant. Agri-consultant is an agronomist, which Kishore was talking about. This agronomist brings the know-how of how the crops are grown, what needs to be done when, what is the commodity prices going on, where the offtake linkages can be done. So all this know-how, not only from a product perspective, but from a complete value chain perspective, is something which agri-consultant is bringing into picture. So we have people from the value chain partners who are attached to this alliance who come and visit these centers, and also to the farmers over there who can benefit out of it. So today, if you see over here, we have, as I told you, global partners, we have local partners, we have local banking partner, which is India, Big Bank, Axis Bank, Yara Fertilizer is a local partner. These are offtake linkages of retail offtakers, Big Basket, Dehat, Agri-Bazaar, who are also linked along with us. So what we do is that we advocate about good agriculture practices, tell them farmers, inform them about what to use when, and ensure that the profitability of the farms comes out very clearly as they were doing in the past. Next slide, please. So we have approximately 1,340 BLF centers across India today, different states which you highlighted and different centers over there. So these centers, by way of these centers, we are able to reach approximately 5 lakh farmers in the country. See, in India, there are 150 million farmers. So out of our whole engagement, we are not able to cover only 10% of the farmers till date. Rest of the farmers we are not able to reach because the trigger to those farmers is value chain. It's not direct going and selling an inputs and those farmers would be engaged. Those farmers are engaged when you tell them about the credit availability. Those farmers would be engaged when you tell about the offtake linkages. Hence, value chain triggers is in the most of the market is very important, and hence they are coming and attaching themselves to these BLF centers and getting that benefit which a complete value chain provides them. So we talk about gender smart approach where all the personas, if you see the farmer is a female, entrepreneur is a female, agronomist is a female. So it's a different market where there is a say from a female side in terms of the agri inputs to be used or how the agriculture needs to be done. So there we are bringing in a complete gender smart ecosystem into most of the centers around that. Market linkages, we are trying to do a lot of pilots around this area, and we would also encourage people who have joined this webinar over here to give us some ideas around that, how this linkages can be done better with the organized and unorganized players over there. This is one very important area where we are looking for the solutions. Finance is something which is a big hassle. I mean, most of the areas, farmers are not able to develop themselves, or agriculture is not able to develop itself because of the lack of finance into the whole value chain process. And therein, maybe most of the areas there are finance solutions which are available, but how to pass on those finance solutions to the farmers? Whether farmers have those kind of credit scoring methodology available where the fintechs can come into place and offer those solutions over there. So that's one area. Capability building of an agri-entrepreneur. So agri-entrepreneurs, most of our market research surveys and all which we have seen. So the mostly to reach the farmers, it's retailers and a distributor model. But AE, Agri-Entrepreneur model, is something which the person is sitting in the village itself. And that's where farmers are listening more to an AE rather than to a retailer or a distributor. And hence, this model, the capability building around this Agri-Entrepreneurs in terms of farming as a business, in terms of what our value chain needs are there, it's becoming more and more important, where IFC, International Finance Corporation, is helping us in terms of building different modules, training programs, farming as a business we are giving over there. We are planning to bring in a lot of mechanization. We believe that it's going to be a big change into this whole ecosystem, and mechanization at a very implements which are very, very small implements which can really serve that requirements of the smallholder farm. We are not talking about big harvesters and all those machines. We are talking about small tillers, small tillers which are small solutions of harvesting and all, which can be brought into the vegetable areas. Next slide, please. So building up on my comment earlier, so the heart of this whole model is Agri-Entrepreneur. And this is a person who is in between the value chain and to the farmers. And we have different personas of Agri-Entrepreneurs who are already there. I talked about 1,340 wheeler centers, and people are coming from different educational backgrounds. There are people who are coming from masters in agriculture. You have people who are PhD in horticulture, PhD in farm mechanization. There are people who belong to the village but have gone, studied outside, and come back to the villages to serve the farming community over there. And I mean, they are doing a pretty good job in terms of, if you see this entrepreneur, this first person is in the photographs, in the engineer. He's doing a very good job in eastern part of the India, where he has been successfully implementing the complete value chain around his center of 550 farmers over there. And 550 farmers are getting double their yields of the vegetables they were growing earlier with the intervention which is bringing over there. So this is a great impact.
Sorry to interrupt, just 2 more minutes, please, so we can be right on time, please.
All right, so this is my last slide. So overall, let's have question and answers after this slide. So looking forward for the interactions. Thank you.
Great, thank you so much, Rohit. And I see that the questions are already piling up in the Q&A, and we have a last final speaker, and then we'll have time to address all the different questions. So up next, we have Dr. Ram Fishman from the Tel Aviv University, who is gonna walk us through Tel Aviv University role in the Agri-Impact and also the value it can bring to the startups. So Ram, take it from here.
Thank you. Hi, everybody. Let me just make this look good. Okay, I hope this is visible. It's nice to be here. So really quickly, just to kind of recap and summarize what this is about. So I am a professor at Tel Aviv University. I specialize personally in understanding the economics of smallholder farmers around the world. I've been working on that for more than 15 years now. And here in Tel Aviv University, we have a lab called the Nitsan Lab. And the purpose of the Nitsan Lab is to create a bridge between the world of innovators like you, who are here at the webinar, and the world of smallholder farmers, who, has previous speakers mentioned, Kishore and Rohit, are a huge market segment, a huge opportunity for business, starting from a low base of productivity, with relatively low adoption of modern technologies, but huge potential. So this is definitely a social agenda, environmental agenda, sustainability agenda, but from your perspective, it's a big business opportunity because it's a huge market segment. However, we realize that it's very difficult for innovators such as yourselves to understand and work in that environment, in that world of smallholder farmers in a country like India. It's difficult. And the purpose of our lab is to make that work easier for you.
We hope everything is okay. Let's give Ram a minute to come back.
So as Ram's coming back, let me just highlight that, for the people that have dialed in, that, as Rohit was talking about, 1340 centers, from a commercialization perspective, you guys, that gives you an opportunity for go-to-market, right? So 500,000 farmers that we have connect today, and 1340 points where you can actually make the sale for the stuff that we're going to. It's a huge market right now, and then we plan to grow it into a lot more centers, in the future as well, right? So I remember something around 5,000 plus centers, in the forward, Rohit, just
3 years. 3 years by 2025, 5,000 centers. Yeah.
So and that's just India right now, and then we are planning also to go forward in other countries at a later point of time. So so just having, wanting to let you know the scope of opportunity that you have. But hand it over back to you, Ram, now that you're here.
I'm sorry. I don't know how much you lost, but I was just saying that that what we do in the lab is to provide you with the. I don't know if that was still audible. Are you able to see my screen now? Yeah. Okay. So basically, just to recap quickly, we are at the field for you. The students we train under our supervision will work with you, learn to know your technology, then they'll install it in the field, and they will run all the
Okay, so let's give Ram a minute to get back to us. And Kishore, do you want to add another sentence?
Following that will be to figure out what is the business model that will enable the farmers to actually purchase the technology through the BLF centers and their value chain infrastructure. So you actually have access to this entire platform, and we will manage this whole process for you. As I mentioned, the field work is conducted by us and our students. We know how to work in these settings. We already have a good deal of experience in doing these kind of trials with Israeli companies. We've worked with a number of Israeli Agri-tech companies in this way. We've worked with companies from other sectors, and we have experience. We know what we're doing, and our students are really top-notch in doing this kind of work. Everything is evidence-based, everything is data-intensive, and everything is based on really understanding the local circumstances. So let me basically end it here and turn it over to the Q&A.
And you're on mute. You're on mute.
Thank you. So thank you so much, Ram. We hope everybody enjoyed the speakers and the panelists. And now let's get to the main reason why we are here today. So the Q&A. So I see that we have already a few questions that are in the chat. So the first one was from Erez Atzmon, who is asking if the Israel Innovation Authority can also assist companies that are already working with no need for funding in finding more global clients and channels. Netta, I saw that you already answered, but your answer got erased.
I'll be happy to answer to everyone. So Erez, the short answer is no. Our focus is more on funding innovative technologies, but I would recommend reaching out to the Israel Export Institute or the Israel Economic Attachés that are in different countries, and this is exactly what they do. They help you find ways to scale. So if you want, I'm happy to connect, or you can reach out to them directly. Yeah.
Great, thank you, Neta. And next up, we have two questions from Shmuel Yerushalmi, which are for Kishore and Rohit, it seems, who is asking, according to new innovative technologies in agriculture, and particularly in small and middle farms, can support resolution problems of food insecurity and poverty. Kishore?
Yes,
Rohit?
maybe Kishore, I can take it and you can also add.
Go ahead, Rohit, yeah.
See, that's the whole purpose. I mean, most of the smallholder geographies, if you see different crops, yeah, the productivity is just 1/4 or 1/5 of what the potential which is available for that productivity to go up. Yeah, so there is a gap. They are just at 20-25%, where the potential to reach is 100%. So hence, if we do this small interventions into these geographies, maybe through inputs, through fertilizers, through irrigation, yeah, that's where we are raising the productivity of those farms. And hence, raising the productivity is something which we are bringing in solutions for reducing the poverty or for increasing the food production for the growing population of the world. So that's where the intention is. Yeah, so there is a value for all the stakeholders involved, and plus biggest value, we are keeping farmer at a center where we are improving their farm productivity.
Thank you, Rohit. We also have an anonymous question from, I believe it's also for Rohit or Kishore, who is asking if you're looking for plant genetic solutions.
Yeah, we are perfectly fine with plant genetic solutions as well, right? Again, we've lined out the areas, and plant genetics is also a part of that. We just need to know how exactly it fits into one of the areas, right? So if that's something that's going to help us in reducing labor, or is it something that's going to help us in more climate resilience, right? So yeah, absolutely, why not?
Great, thank you. Next up, Nisim is asking Neta if their company has already received in the past funding from the authority, if they can submit again.
Yes, so here the answer is yes. You can definitely submit again. The way we work is that we provide funding to a project. So you can't receive double funding for a project that you already received funding for, but if you are in a different stage of the project, let's give an example, before you were doing R&D and now you're in the pilot stage, that could be relevant. Or if it's a different solution coming from the same company, we have different companies receiving funding for different programs. So yes.
Great, thank you, Neta. And just to get back to Shmuel's second part of this question, that was a follow-up for his first question, he's asking how the idea of Agri-Impact can support development agriculture farming in desert and arid areas in the world.
It's a big question. So, and I think we are trying to narrow it down correctly. So I think in India, we do have certain states. If you look into the map that Rohit shared with you, where we have BLF centers, we do have them in certain states where we have desert, right? So for you, opportunities to test some of the solutions. Absolutely, it's also important from a climate resilience perspective as well. So if you have solutions, please bring them on. We'll be more than happy to work with you to test and then scale it if it works, and if it's something that is something that's going to help improve lives of smallholder farmers and also help address climate change.
Great, thank you, Kishore. I think the next question is also for you, but after you answer, we would also like to hear from Neta and Ram, their perspective. The next question is from Tal Simcha, who is asking if the pilot can also include engagement with aggregators who source from smallholder farmers, mainly those who want to ensure sustainability, agronomic practices in scale, forecasting yields, and detecting supply risks early.
Yeah, I think I will also ask Rohit to jump in here. We are working with the BLF centers, with aggregators, and at some of the centers, from a market linkage perspective. So I think this is a yes from my side, but I will ask Rohit to add a little bit more.
Yeah, absolutely, Kishore. Sure, you're dot on. So, absolutely, yes. So, we are ready to look for solutions in that area. And as I already mentioned, these two areas are very critical for us. One is market linkages and another is finance. These are the two areas where we are really, a farmer is in a desperate need of solutions over there. So, and a lot of India has a lot of unorganized players, off takers, which play a big role. And that's where some ideas around linkage of this organized to the retail chains or to the processes is something which can create a big difference.
Great. We would also be happy to get the perspective of Neta and Ram for this question.
Go ahead.
So I would say, look, this is the beginning of a journey. And certainly when you open up new possibilities for areas where impact can be created and value can be created, certainly we are very open to hear about any idea, including maybe in sectors we haven't even thought about yet in the ecosystem of these farmers. So definitely, please, if you have any idea that you think might be relevant, it's definitely worth suggesting it. The expression of interest is a 5-minute web form that you fill. That's the beginning of our interaction. That's the beginning of our learning from you, you learning from us, the beginning of our conversation. So if you think there's any scope of interest for you here, definitely feel the expression of interest, fill it up, 5 minutes, and we will begin a conversation with you to understand how to best serve your needs.
I'll just jump in to say that from our point of view, we are, I'd say, agnostic, because what we want is for our partners to find solutions that fit them. And then we would like to see that, as I said, it's a good company, it's a good solution, but we're not getting into what sort of specific, what the challenges are. This I leave to our partners.
Sorry. Great. Thank you, everybody. The next question, I believe, is also for Kishore or Rohit, from Itzhak Zinger, who is asking, what about fruit trees? They have an irrigation patent.
Yeah, I mean, I think anything in horticulture is welcome, absolutely. So if you have something in fruit trees, especially in India, I know, there is quite a bit of fruit trees here in the horticulture space, where the produce even in fact is exported. There's pretty high quality produce that gets produced here, so you'll have a pretty good market.
Great, thank you. Next up, we have a question from Karen, who is asking, in what way this program supports the farmers with basic investment? For example, common field equipment, cell phones, internet connection, service fee. So I think this is relevant for Kishore and also for Neta. Feel free to jump in.
So if I understand, if the question is that what are we doing to help farmers?
With basic equipment.
Where? I mean, as part of the BLF centers, or as part of the Agri-Impact? You're asking, what's the, I don't understand the question. Are you asking about, is this about if the BLF centers, maybe Rohit, you can I provide a little bit more?
Yes. So see, as we already said that we are also providing different kind of services to the smallholder farmers through BLF centers. Yeah. And it is not same across all centers. Maybe some areas, the crop needs are different. Yeah, according to those crop needs, we will need a different implements over there. So we are providing through BLF centers. We are providing banking services like cash availability, a small kiosk which has been set at a BLF center, so that a cash availability to the farmers is there to buy some inputs in his village only. Yeah, that way we are looking for, you have also said about, as I understand from Jen's question, that onto internet services provided, or you have a connectivity issues in the villages and all. And therein we are looking for an active partner who can actually, and we have seen that the question is very relevant, that the footfall of the farmers increases where you have this SIM card selling, or some you have internet connection which is available over there. And not in India, but in Bangladesh, we have done this testing, and with installing an internet facilities at those BLF centers, farmer footfall increases, and that's what we are looking for India as well. So we don't have any partner as of now, but we are actively looking for a partner over there. But these small things are very important.
Great, thank you, Oid. And the next question is from Uriah. They're asking does the solution can be a type of collective solution for a group farmers from 500 to 1,000 small farmers community, meaning, for example, a combined irrigation or water treatment solution for a group of farmers and not a single grower?
It can be done, it can be thought of, but little applicability of this particular solution across different farmers, because see, the 500 farmers are in a vicinity of 5 to 10 villages. Yeah, if the cluster is big, I mean, if you can get 50 or 100 farmers in the same village, a common solution can also be worked out. And that's where one of the solutions from NetFM is there. They are putting up one common point from which they can irrigate farmers' field of 20-25 farmers in one go. So that's possible.
Great, thank you. And next up we have Avi, who is asking for the contact person details in Israel and the contact person in Etafim. So as we speak, we're sending the link for further information in the chat. And also we will share that information for anyone who registered for the program. So the next question is from Liran, who is asking, do the smallholders also use net houses or greenhouse, for instance, or are they only in open fields for their crops? Are most of the crops in the ground or in detached beds?
No, we have both growers in greenhouses, net houses, as well as in open field.
Great, thank you.
Chen, can I make one point here also? I think it's important to understand that there is a huge range and diversity in the types of smallholder farmers in India. They range from indeed being very low productivity, but there are many of them that are actually very entrepreneurial, already employ quite sophisticated technologies, relatively speaking, have smartphones, smart mobile phones. So please don't think that the only types of farmers that are your potential customers here are people that are starting from zero. They have already proven that they can adapt the right technologies and they are finding the ways to do it. And they are actually very good customers and business-oriented customers in many cases.
Great, Ram. Thank you for that addition. Next up, we have from Avner, and he's saying that they have a unique hydroponic system for smallholder farmers with 50 installations in Israel and 15 worldwide, and they're developing a mobile app to support these units with AI solution for troubleshooting to replace on-site agronomists. Can the development and pilot of this software be funded?
So hydroponics is an area where in few of the geographies the interest is there. Yeah. So like I told you that agri-entrepreneurs were moving from cities to villages. They have a good know-how onto this new technologies, the AI part, IoT devices, yeah, hydroponics. So that's where they are bringing in a change, but the change is slow. But this would definitely be one of the areas which can really pick up if worked on ground.
Okay. Netta, would you also have something to add to this question?
No, again, as I said, it's a question of the compatibility with the partners. I can't say in advance if it will or will not be funded, but if it's a good collaboration, then it has a good chance.
Great. Next one, we have an anonymous question. Are small farm of aquaculture, specifically shrimps, are included?
No.
No. Okay. Thank you. That was short. Up next, we have Avi, who is asking, please explain again how the distribution and sales will be carried on.
So in this model, see, the BLF center is who is run by an agri-entrepreneur. He becomes the focal point where he purchases the products from the distributors. So what we are planning to do is we are planning to put up a central hub, which becomes as a one point where all the partner companies are going to build the products at one hub. And those hub is going to cater to 15 to 20 BLF centers. And there again, that the financing often not only of a farmer, but financing of an AE, which is a crucial importance also because he needs to maintain an inventory and all. And that's where we are looking for solutions that how that AE, yeah, with his little investments also can be provided a credit so that he can buy from that hub and pass on the products to the farmers.
So
Great.
primarily, we will start clearly with the BLF centers, correct?
Yeah.
And so that's where you would have your point of access to the customer, the farmer directly. But then as the solutions grow, I think we can think of other distribution channels as well, because Bayer has a pretty strong footprint, in these markets. So we could actually even go beyond that.
Great, thank you so much. We have a follow-up question from Avner. I'll just remind with the hydroponic systems, who is asking, will you help farmers purchase the hydroponic equipment to start their business?
Hydroponics, we have already answered, Jane. Just answered.
Great.
So I think, yeah, we will not be funding farmers to buy equipment from you.
No. Okay, great. Thank you. We have a question from an anonymous who is asking, what is the majority of the crops in smallholder farms?
Yeah, Kishore, you can.
Yeah, I think there's so many crops, right?
I believe this is the last question, so.
Yeah, there's 20 plus crops, that smallholder farmers are growing, and I think that's just been vegetables, and then there is some fruits. So it's hard to say, but I can just list maybe a couple, the big ones, right? So in India, you would probably find tomato, and you'll find peppers, hot pepper, you'll find okra, you'll find a lot of gourds. So I think those are some of the crops clearly that I can state are some of the big crops. Yeah.
Okay, great. Thank you so much. So that's it for the questions. If anybody has another question that they didn't get to ask, so please free to send it to us, and we will make sure that you will be answered. So feel free to reach out to us. We are very much looking forward to seeing your solutions and registrations. And if you're interested in applying, just please remember that registration closes next Thursday on December 15th. So thank you all for coming and for joining us today, and have a great rest of the day. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, everyone.